The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hi, good morning, everyone. This is Kathleen Taylor. I'm with the Nevada Women's Business Center, and I'm so pleased to bring you this morning our webinar that we provide once a month, and we collaborate with some fantastic resource partners to provide you with different topic segments for discussion for entrepreneur development and training. And today we're going to talk about basically some interesting things about the art of promoting your business. So if you are, an entrepreneur and you're interested in learning some tips or some strategies about promoting your business, we have a fantastic lineup here with our resource partner that's here and also a guest speaker as well. And hopefully, I'm sure he'll join us soon. And with that being said, it's such a treat to once again collaborate with the Las Vegas Urban League for entrepreneur trainings, for events. And I'd like to welcome a good friend of mine and a colleague that I really admire, Mr. Dino Brown of the Las Vegas Urban League. Hi, Dino.
How you doing, Kathleen? Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for the wonderful partnership that we share with you and the Women's Business Center and the Nevada Business Opportunity Fund. I'm going to take a quick couple of minutes to talk about the Urban League,
Please.
what we do, and then I'll talk about my programs, the Entrepreneurship Center and the Financial Empowerment Center. So Las Vegas Urban League, we've been in existence since 2003. We're one of 88 affiliates of the National Urban League out of New York, and we are the top affiliate in terms of performance and revenue generation. So we're very proud of that. What does the Urban League do? We provide services to low-income individuals and families. We do everything from providing entrepreneurial services and small business advice services to educational services for children grades 5 through 8 to educating Spanish-speaking parents as to how to better educate and work with their children who are in English-speaking schools. We provide soon-to-be mothers with nutrition advice as well as breastfeeding counseling. We provide early child care for individuals who work on a regular basis and don't have the time to stay at home and watch their child. We do a lot, and we oftentimes get lost because we do so many different things. Our brand image gets lost. Workforce development, we take individuals who are looking for jobs, bring them to a week-long class, and then by the time they finish that week, we place them in a job fair, and many of them walk out with jobs. So that's what the Urban League does. The Entrepreneurship Center and Financial Empowerment Center, what we do is help new entrepreneurs looking to start a business. We help them get started. And existing small businesses, we help them realign their businesses and grow towards improved profitability. And we do this through providing business education, business training, and one-on-one counseling services. So we're very happy with the outcomes we've had. The Entrepreneurship Center in the last 3 years, between 2015 and 2017, we helped to start 80 new small businesses in the Vegas Valley, 75 of which are still in business. That's a 93.75% success rate for our businesses that we've started. The national average is 20%, so I think we're doing okay. And we're looking forward to providing more wonderful services. Our next step for us, we're looking to acquire another, and Kathleen, you may not know this, although we've talked about it before, we're looking to open another building probably right next to ours, and we're going to develop something called the Innovation Center for Entrepreneurship. And so what this will do, we will allow the small businesses that we've helped to start and other new small businesses to have a co-working space. So many of the individuals that we get and that you get as well are starting their businesses and operating them as home-based businesses, which isn't always ideal. You know, for example, you've got clients that you need to see. Well, we're going to provide an office space, a co-working space for a small fee to those individuals. In addition, we're going to have an entire technology platform that is based on not the traditional classroom style training. So Kathleen, both you and I have done that for years, but now we're doing things like interactive webinars. And the next step for us is to basically create a platform where you're able to interact, and we're trying to make the education process for entrepreneurial training totally technology based, so that people don't have to come and travel to our locations. They can get online and learn, but not just be dictated to, actually jump in and perform. So for example, if I'm doing business class training or business plan training, I want to be able to talk with my trainees online and have them give me an example of what a mission statement is, or a value proposition, etc. It's not just me sitting back and talking to you as to how to do it. I'm actually working with you to create your own. So we're very excited about the things that we have going on, and we've got a lot more to do, but we're heading the right direction, and we can only do so through wonderful partnerships like individuals like yourself in the Women's Business Center, Accion, another small business lender, Small Business Development Center, Small Business Administration. These guys are all critical to our success.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of which, we're also collaborating with the Nevada Department of Business and Industry.
That's right.
And the Deputy Director, Marcel Shayer, he is part of our team for Startup Steps as well. He graciously volunteers his time to collaborate with both of us, Dino, to provide this type of training at least once a month to the community. And although Marcel isn't here today with us, just to kind of give a brief overview of the Department of Business and Industry, Dino, how has your clients benefited from some of the programs and services provided by the Department of B&I?
So it's interesting. In this website that you have on the screen right now, there is a business roadmap that they've created, which is it's a fantastic tool, and I've used it for my last 15 clients.
Yes.
People come to us in different places in their business development, in different places in their business startup. And so what the roadmap does, it provides a list of resources and instruction depending on wherever you are in the process, whether you just have an idea or if you're just looking to get your business license and state documentation. The roadmap is a fantastic tool. And so that, along with just all the resources you could possibly want, that is the website that you go to. In fact, if you Google Nevada Department of Business and Industry, it'll come up. I'm sure Kathleen will show it to you. But it's a fantastic resource that I never knew about until Kathleen's colleague, Leanna Jenkins, and Marcel walked into my office. And I said, I didn't know you guys existed, but not only do they exist, they're a huge resource, and they're free. We like free.
Yes, we do. And also, with that being said, speaking of resources, it's fantastic that we have online and available to help us facilitate more of who you are and what you do and what could keep you top of mind in business. I'm really happy that we are currently have the pleasure of having someone that's a subject matter expert in that area. And it's such a pleasure to have Andre Haynes as our presenter, and he is phenomenal. He is the founder and president of EMG, and he deals with a variety of different types of media, promotions, marketing, branding for clients. And also, he's recently launched the first ever in the history of Nevada, as far as I know, Armed Forces Chamber of Commerce. And it's wonderful to have that type of organization available for veterans, for people that served in our military branches, for their spouses, for their families to thrive with the different benefits that the chamber provides. So with that being said, I know that Andre he's on the call, and it would be great to have you uh, give more background about who you are and what you do to the audience. So good morning, Andre.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you, Ms. Taylor, for the warm introduction and for the opportunity to be part of this. As
Excellent.
she said, my name is Andre Haynes. I'm the founder and president of the Armed Forces Chamber of Commerce, and our mission is to advocate, empower, and partner with armed forces member-owned businesses. And eligible members include armed forces members from every branch who have or currently honorably serve, their spouses, first responders, veteran service organizations, and even advocates of armed forces members. It's a great organization, a little older than a year. I think right now we have about 4 dozen members. Proud to have great partners in the community like Nevada Women's Business Center, Microsoft, the Small Business Administration, Nevada Department of Business and Finance, and the list goes on. And it's great because it's the first organization of its kind ever in the state of Nevada. Currently, there are almost 50 incorporated and active chambers of commerce in Nevada, everything from Women's Chamber of Commerce, Urban Chamber of Commerce, Las Vegas Metro Chamber of Commerce, the Indian Chamber of Commerce, but this is the first one specifically designed for armed forces members. And in addition to that, what makes it very unique is that there are lots of business opportunities for armed forces members, active and veteran alike. However, that information was scattered. And so the chamber has become the platform where we're able to bring all that information together, plus partnerships with different people who offer things for armed forces members. So that it's a one-stop shop. Before the chamber, since age 15, I've been a business owner, and primarily I've been involved in the live music recording and entertainment industry. And so I've dealt a lot with marketing, promotion, and public relations. I've been fortunate to work with some people to help develop the start of their careers like Beyonce, Keith Urban, Snoop Dogg, and lots of other people in the music business. And later on, I expanded and transitioned into television shows, movies. I've owned nightclubs, and with another business that I have, my main bread and butter, it's about 8 years old, called EMG Public Relations. I've had the opportunity to represent a lot of pro athletes. I've helped them get their contracts with teams, and a lot of them, when they retired or they were on the injured list, I helped them transition, excuse me, into another career so that they could still earn income and provide for themselves and family. So again, it's a blessing and opportunity, and I'm very thankful to be able to do this and to work in close partnership with Nevada Business Center, and especially with Ms. Kathleen Taylor.
Well, thank you, Andre. We really appreciate your partnership and your expertise as well. What I find really interesting is that, generally speaking, people understand that promotions, marketing is part of the whole scheme of getting your name and your brand out there. But there's a certain art to it. There's a certain craft to it. So what are some strategies based upon your experience being an entrepreneur and a business owner that helps you to enhance and hone your craft for business promotion?
Okay. So, you know, thank you for that question. I have 2 answers. I'll give one. You know what? It really starts with the individual. Before you get to the actual business, whatever it is you sell or provide, if that's a service or a product, before you get to your business card, your banners, all these marketing materials, your elevator speech, it starts with you. And I'll be transparent. Right now, I'm at the Las Vegas Eldorado Parade in downtown Las Vegas, and I'm working on about 4 hours of sleep. And I'll be quite honest with you. I did not feel like being here this morning. I committed to it 3 or 4 months ago. It's political season. I'm handling a lot of politicians. So
Okay.
I'm working an average of 15 hours a day. My head was not in the game this morning, but I knew I was going to have to push that button internally and go into character. And so as I arrived, I did that. And within 5 minutes of being here, one of the entries right in front of my car, where we're stationed to be, the gentleman happens to be a retired Navy veteran of 22 years, a police officer of 20 years, and a fireman of 15. And I was placing the car magnet on the car right here, and he saw it, and about 20 people from his group immediately came up, and they introduced themselves. They started pulling off their military IDs, telling me their background. They said, we haven't heard of the Armed Forces Chamber. We want to support. We've got some grant money. We have this. We have that. How can we get on board and support? Now, the reason I say it starts with you is because had I not went into character and put a smile on my face and emitted a positive energy and been outgoing, I would have projected a negative energy, or I would have been, what's the word I want to use? Distant, antisocial. And they might have saw that and felt that, and they might have been hesitant or resistant or reluctant to approach me and to share and to offer the things they have. And so a lot of people marketing and promoting your business, before you really even get to the process of doing that, it starts with you. And what you have to do is you have to put yourself in the shoes of the customer or a person who maybe they're not a customer, but they've never met you. And you never get a second chance to make a first impression. And so when they walk through the door of your business, when they go to your website, when they call your company's phone number, and that person says hello, what kind of energy or what kind of message are they sending? Are they saying we're friendly, we're unfriendly, we want your business, we don't want your business, we care about your needs, we don't care about your needs? All those messages can simply be relayed by your facial expression, your body language, even the way you respond or greet a person. And that's where it starts. Before they look at your shirt and your card and all these other things that we have, promoting your business starts with you.
Dino, what do you think about that? Is that something that you advise your clients to do at the Las Vegas Urban League?
It really depends, Kathleen, on the social style of the individual. I do agree completely with what Andre's saying, but I will not. And yes, of course, you are the face of your organization. If you want to promote your organization, it all begins with you. But you know what? A lot of business owners aren't like me, you, and Andre. They aren't people, if you know what I mean. So, for example, perfect industry, restaurants. I know a lot of chefs who've started restaurants, but they do not want to interact with their customers. They want to be in the kitchen cooking. And so if you can't do the things that Andre's talking about, get some help. Get a business manager. Get a floor manager. Someone that is able to present that smiling face, present that engaging being that is your business, or at least that you want your business to be. If you're not that kind of person, get help from the outside or get it from within your own network. But it is critical. So again, depending on the social styles and personality of the individual, Kathleen, I will either instruct them like in the same way that Andre's talking about. But if I see that they're not really outgoing individuals, I'm like, you know what? You may want to have your wife, or you may want to have your husband be the face, because he's much more engaging. He's much more he or she's much more charming, etc. So it really does depend on the personality of the individual.
And Andre, I found it really interesting when you said you have to emit, positive energy, because people have a feel of that immediately.
Oh yeah.
And not only that, but it's like you have to turn on this switch. And I remember when I was a business owner, and it was just, oh my gosh, I'm like burning both ends of the candle, and I have to go to this event, or I've made this commitment, to provide this service, to fulfill this contract. And from the time that I would get out of my car upon arriving at the site, And stepping through the door, I had this whole different vibe, whole different persona. It's like a switch would click within me internally, and I would go from having like a whole type of like a C minus perspective to an A plus. So in terms of your promoting who you are and your brand, how important it is to be consistent, that you always have to bring your A game on an F day. What do you think about that?
Did we lose Andre?
Yes, I'm here. You able to hear me?
Yes.
Now we can, yes.
Okay, wonderful. My apologies. I was able to hear half of that. My signal went in and out.
Oh, that's okay. I was just saying that I just find it interesting how, regardless of your own personal stuff that's going on with you, and you're in this mindset of being a C minus, but then whenever you're engaging with your client or attending a meeting or some other obligation on behalf of your business, you have to go from having a C minus perspective to putting on your A game. And you have to have that type of versatility within yourself. So in reference to promoting your business, there's different types of venues that a person can use. Do you think person to person is the most effective, or maybe social media, or maybe television, radio spots? So what's your opinion?
You know what? I think it's all the above. And the reason I say all the above is because it changes and transitions with businesses just like life. There's stages. Like one month or one quarter, you may be doing great on Facebook, getting tons of likes, tons of shares. Another quarter, it might be the face.
He's on the phone, baby.
Implement that, which is, for example, with my businesses, I've always maintained more than one business simultaneously, so that if the income reduces from one business, that can be offset or supplemented by income from another business. And it's the same principle with promoting one business. Something that is working on a Monday may not work on a Friday. So by Tuesday or Wednesday, you have to already be thinking ahead, what am I going to do on Friday when what's working on Monday isn't working? And I can make that transition and still maintain the same amount of traction or exposure or the converting this customer, or not a customer, converting this lead to be a client. So I think it changes, unless in the business plan that business is only going to be marketed a certain way and it's never going to change.
I find that interesting that if I heard you correctly, Andre, that if you have a certain marketing strategy in your business plan, then that strategy isn't going to change. Is that correct?
Yes. For example, a business may produce a product, and they may say in their business plan, we're only going to market and promote this product on QVC. Another business may say, we're an online business, and the only way we're going to market and promote this business is by purchasing pay-per-clicks on Google, or by purchasing web advertisements on YouTube, or putting our banner on other websites. There are some businesses where at the very beginning stages and in their business plan, this is the only way we're going to market and promote. So for those people, they don't have that flexibility per se. But another business that might use television, radio, print, outdoor signs, mobile advertising, going to expos, whatever, even someone spinning a sign out front of the business. For that business, they have a bit more flexibility, and they can look to use different means to promote their business based upon what's working and what's working less. so that they can transition into the latest trend.
You know what? I find it interesting that you being the owner of EMG and also the founder of the Armed Forces Chamber of Commerce, these are two completely different business models. So how is it that you strategize for, okay, for EMG, this is my promotions plan, and then for the Armed Forces Chamber of Commerce, this is my promotions plan. And did any of those strategies overlap so that one promotes the other or vice versa, or do you deliberately make sure that each one stays in its own lane?
It has overlapped, but I really try as much as possible to keep them separate, because I never ever want a disgruntled client or employee from EMG to bleed over into the chamber, or for somebody who is maybe in competition or jealous of the chamber to then reflect on EMG. And then as far as the marketing plans that I have for each brand, they're both very different, and mainly because with EMG, I like to market to a prominent and affluent client. So some of the things I do for the chamber, like going to expos, because that one I'm more targeting word of mouth. I mean, I would, it would be more so entailed to do it like at a country club, or like a suite inside a stadium where the Lakers play, because that's the clientele that I'm going for. Whereas the chamber, the demographic of the members, some have a lot of money, some have very little, but the majority of people are in a different financial caliber than the others. So really with both of those businesses and even my clients, with marketing and promoting, it's really going to be contingent upon who your demographic is. That determines where you go, because wherever they are, that's where you have to be. If they're at a high-end nightclub inside a Las Vegas casino on the Strip, that's where you're going to be. If they're on a private jet, that's where you're going to be. If they're at the swap meet or your local neighborhood church, that's where you're going to be. So based on my demographic of my client or customer, that really determines whether or not I go left, right, straight, or I make a U-turn as far as my marketing and promoting and the area and direction that I take it.
So Andre, this is kind of like a what came first, the chicken or the egg question. When you come across entrepreneurs, or actually when you come across clients and they want to partner with you for your services, for promoting them in whatever venue it is, what step do you take first with them? Do you take a step in assessing the branding component first, or the marketing component first, or the PR component? Which one do you do first? Because it seems that they could overlap. And the reason why I'm asking this is because clients, whether they are startup or established entrepreneurs, sometimes they don't know where to start, or they may make a misstep in doing branding first instead of PR, or marketing first instead of, promotions. So is there like a set formula for this, or does it depend upon the industry and the demographics and the behavior of the client base?
That's a good question. At the beginning stages of EMG back in 2011, the things I considered when taking on a new client, and what order or what steps I provided to services, if I'm doing branding first, or we're going to do the marketing and promotion second. That's what I used to do. But from then until now, and some of the experiences I had, what I do now before I even determine what service do they need first, or what service do they need most, is I look at a few things. I mean, one, of course, are they able to afford me? Two, are they able to afford the campaign? Because yes, I do have a rate, I do have a retainer. However, if they can only afford my retainer, but they can't afford to pay for the other things that are necessary to market and promote their business, whatever that may be, well, guess what? I might be happy as the business because I receive the amount of money that I require. But if they're not able to pay for anything else, it now becomes a poor reflection on my business because it's going to look like a lackluster client. So when I look at it now, I look at the big picture. Can they afford to pay my retainer, and can they afford to pay for this campaign that they want to use for the business, and are they going to take my advice? Because if they're not and they make the wrong move, at the end of the day, guess what? It's my fault, and it's gonna reflect on me, and I'm not going to point the finger and say, no, I told them they should double check the spelling on that billboard or that TV commercial, and they didn't do it, and there's a misspelled word. It's not me. I can't do that. If it goes wrong, I've got to own it and take responsibility for it, even if I didn't do it. And so it's important to me to have a client that they really do trust in my ability. And if I make a suggestion, they go with it. I mean, just this year, some of the political candidates I represent, I've had to fire some. I've had to say, here's your check back. Thank you, but no thank you, because they weren't willing to take my advice, and they were going to make some catastrophic mistakes that when people looked at their success or failure, they're going to say it's because of EMG. Does that answer your question?
Oh, excellent. Absolutely. So Dino, what do you come across some of those dynamics with your clients? And what advice do you give to them?
First of all, it was a very good question, Kathleen. And again, it really depends on, with regard to is there a formula? It really depends on what they have available to themselves in terms of resources. So I'll just use the restaurant owner again. If I run across somebody who is really outward and outgoing, I may say, you know what, let's start with PR. You need to get people into your restaurant. They need to know what it is. Let's start with public relations, and then they probably move to marketing. Let's get on social media. Let's start to really build your notoriety, if you will, and then I'll move to branding. But again, it could be completely different for a different type of client, a different type of industry. For example, if I have a construction worker, I may say, you know what, word of mouth is what's going to get you going for the beginning of your business life. So let's just do good work, and then let's start to market. And then once you start marketing, once you have good work done, then you move to PR. So again, the formula varies based on the industry and the resources that the client has available to them.
Thank you, Dino and Andre. Andre, you made the point of, and I'm going to kind of summarize this, but if you are an entrepreneur and you're tuning in to this webinar, or if you're watching it after the fact, if you're an entrepreneur and you are on the spectrum of you have your own PR firm or your own marketing firm, or you're in branding or promotions, then this question is for you. So with that being said, Andre, what you said earlier about basically knowing your worth and qualifying people that can afford you based upon your worth and your talent and what you bring to the table, how important is that for the business owner that is in your industry, knowing their worth and saying, you know what, I can do X, Y, and Z for you, but if you can't afford me, then where do you go from there with the conversation? So do you give them a discounted rate? Do you work with them where they're at? Do you, stand, by your worth? What advice would you give to someone that is in your industry and they're trying to build their client base? They know their worth, but they may waver, just to get some revenue rolling in.
That's a great question. Thanks. And you know what? Over the years, there was a time when I gave the person who said, I want to hire you, but I can't afford that. Can you give me 10%, 20%, 30% off? There was a time I did that just because, especially because I needed the income. I was still in the building stages and cash flow was critical. Now what I do, I still do it, but I do it differently. And now what I do is with my clients for EMG public relations, generally my starting term is 12 months. And what I do is I say, if you're going to pay month to month, then this is what you're going to pay total. However, if you would like a discount, you can receive a discount based on whether or not you make 4 payments, 2 payments, or 1 payment, and they're all consecutive. And so this way, you know, if they do want a discount, they just have to pay more upfront, closer together. And then if they say, I still can't afford that, then a lot of times what I'll do, I have about 5 PR companies that I refer people to. Because PR in every business, whether it's a restaurant, a service you're providing like an attorney, or publicist like myself, there are different levels. You know, with the car, you have a base model, then you have the model with all the bells and the whistles. And so a person, no matter what they like, you're gonna fall in one of those categories based on what you can afford. So again, if a person says, Andre, even with those discounts you have set up, I still can't afford it, then I'll say, here's 3 or 4 other companies that we work with and partner with. Go ahead and give them a call because their prices are less expensive. And of course, I have an arrangement with those companies where I receive a commission. So even though I'm not making my full scale from that person, I'm still able to realize some income in the form of a, finder's fee or a referral commission.
Kathleen, let me jump in real quick if you don't mind. Andre, I love your posture on discounting because so many entrepreneurs fall victim to this where, you get a friend or you get family and they want, the same services that you provide at a rate because they're friends or family. You can't do that. Your business is doomed if you continue to create that, well, I can just go to Dino because I know he'll cut me a break. If you want your business to grow and be sustainable, you have to have a posture like yours, Andre, where you say, you know what, here are my prices. Here's how I discount, and if not, here's some people I can send you to help out. Because otherwise, you're always working from a loss perspective in small business. So I love that. I love that attitude towards discounting. Thanks, Kathy. I just want to jump in with that.
Thank you, and I totally agree. And if I could be transparent, I mean, I'll just be honest. Years ago, when I started out EMG, because I didn't have staff of 100 people, I didn't have this big, luxuriously furnished office building. I didn't have 30 years experience. I didn't have clients who were in the NBA or NFL. That made my self-esteem and my self-confidence very low. And I did not feel like I deserved to get or demand the amount of money that my production or my service really deserves. So a lot of time I discounted the price because of how I felt on the inside when I compared myself to other people. And there had to come a day where I said, you know what? I don't care if it's just me. If I'm a one-man shop, if I'm meeting people at Starbucks, if I'm using the cell phone, this is what I deserve because this is the quality of service I'm providing. And until I find a person who believes that like I do, I'm not going to discount my prices, even if I have to make less money and struggle for a while. And what I learned is in life, and especially in business, I cannot convince somebody of something if I don't first believe it. Excellent. So I've got to first believe this is my worth, this is my value, and I've got to demand it. And if a person cannot afford it or they don't think I'm worth it, then I got to move on.
Excellent, excellent. I like the way that you're, giving it to us straight with no chaser, Andre. That's excellent. Now, could you explain like the whole dynamic of having patience? Because when you launch a specific like promotional campaign for a product or service, then there's some time that's involved to actually see that result from launch to result. So what advice would you give to business owners that are using a promotional, strategies, and how important it is to stay the course or even change the course? Because let's say that you buy 50 Facebook ads and you only run them for 2 days, and you have the expectation of seeing an increase in revenue. Well, maybe you had to run those Facebook ads a little longer to see that result. So what are your thoughts on that?
Very, very good question. You know what? It's definitely a game of patience, because you can do everything right and still not accomplish the results that you want to have for a myriad of factors. I look at patience when it comes to marketing and promoting a business and hoping to earn a certain amount of income, just like a romantic or a personal relationship. You can't quit, and you've got to be committed to the commitment, even if it's not working. For myself, for EMG brand, even for the Armed Forces Chamber, in the beginning, my brand, my service, my model did not look like then the way they do now. It was only because I spent so many hours looking at what I did, talking to advisors and consultants, looking at what other people did, making comparisons. How can I simplify this? How can I make it better? How can I improve my deliverable? I spend more time doing that than I do actually providing the service. And it's only because of that that I get to places where, okay, the light bulb came on. This is it. I need to do this. I need to do that. Now, yes, a lot of time while that's happening, yes, I'm having to bite the bullet financially. And maybe I'm having to use my personal money to fund the business because it's not paying for itself. Or maybe the business is only paying for itself and it's not paying me. So I'm having to go through some financial hardship. But that's part of it. You got to be willing and be able to endure that and to outlast that struggle to get to the point of victory.
Wow, that's fantastic. Dino, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, what Andre just said reminds me of something that you said to me about a year and a half ago, and the real patience comes in not allowing your own personal situation to affect the good of the business, right? So you said to me one day, again about a year and a half ago, you said, don't let your personal need for money dictate what you do in your business, because if you end up running and chasing after money, you lose focus on where the business needs to go. And that's exactly what Andre's trying to say right here. He's saying, look, you know what? If I have to take an L on this client, I'll take the L, but I'm not going to lower my standards. And I think that what he said around self promotion and making sure that you believe in what you're doing and you believe in your self-worth, if you will, that really dictates how your business is going to run. Because you can, I provide the same level of service to friends and family versus, clients like Pepsi and Coca-Cola and Corning, and what I got paid for, but what I got paid from family and friends was, nowhere near what I got paid from large organizations. But I should have never let that happen. But it's for the same reasons that Andre just said, until I said, you know what, I'm worth this, my product or my service is worth this, then you're good. Then then you can have a posture that says, nah, this is what I charge. This is how it's going down. And if you can't do it, then you can't do it. But again, to small business owners, don't let your personal need for money dictate how you run your business, because that will your focus is lost at that point in time.
Yeah, I agree with both of you, and thank you for your comments, Andre and Dino, for speaking, so thoroughly and candidly about these real issues. So, Andre, kind of like you said earlier, it kind of depends upon the stage of the individual, and I think you also mentioned this too, Dino, to a degree. So, what is the difference between helping someone create a promotional strategy for their product or service when they're a startup versus someone that's been in business, let's say, for about 5 years? Andre, what would be the difference in those two approaches?
You know what? I I think really those approaches should be the same. I think no matter how long a person has been in business, whether it's day one or whether you're year 20, like the great rapper, the former late Biggie Smalls, B.I.G. said, I treat my first like my last, and I treat my last like my last like my first.
Big up to B.I.G.
I'm from the music business. I'm sorry. I had to use
like that.
but you know, but I believe every business, no matter who your demographics or your clientele are. For example, the Armed Forces Chamber of Commerce, we do have promotions where we offer discounts to become a new member or to become a renewing member, but I offer those discounts on military holidays, the birthdays of the different military branches, Veterans Day, Memorial Day, Blue Star Mother's Day. So every business, you have to look at who your customer or your client are, and you have to determine what days or what awareness is, what is important to them, and you always do promotions around that time. And again, there's no one size fits all. So I'm not saying everybody has to or everybody should do it, but I know for myself and for my friends, I look at the customer, and let's say, for example, it's a woman. Well, guess what? March is National Women's Month. We have Mother's Day, and we have other times that we set aside in America to honor and to support women. And so I make sure during those times that my company does that by either A, sponsoring an event, donating time or money or whatever it may be, but I also take the opportunity to provide a promotion in honor of that.
That's excellent. And, you know, with that being said, at this time, I'm going to give the floor, so to speak, to our audience. So audience members that are tuning in, if you have any questions or comments about the content of this fantastic conversation about the art of promoting your business, please use your question box that's part of your control panel with GoToWebinar on your screen, and just type in any questions or comments that you have. And while we're waiting for that to come in, Andre, would you like to provide any like a summary or, you know, major highlight points in closing about the art of promoting your business?
Yes, and thank you
Kathleen,
much for the opportunity.
Fast. And Andre kind of keyed on something.
Oh, sure.
With regard to the approach being the same. My experience is a little different from Andre's. He's seen a lot more experienced businesses than I have. Many of my clients are what we call pre-venture. So they come in, they have an idea. So many of my clients don't even know what public relations is. So rather than confuse them with the idea as to, or the notion that they need to develop a PR strategy, I'll start with something simple like, you know what, how are you going to market your business? And then I will grow them and educate them to the level of PR. And so I think that, again, the approach, like with anything, depends on the individual and their state of readiness for action.
I agree, Dino, and that's some real good advice, especially with the clients that at the Nevada Women's Business Center and also at the Las Vegas Urban League. And with that being said, Andre, what are some closing comments you'd like to share with the audience? And I so appreciate your time this morning. We know that you're really, really busy, and it's just been so educational and enlightening to get your perspective on this topic.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much for those kind words, and again, also for this opportunity, not just to share, but every time I do this, I learn. You know, iron sharpens iron, and metal sharpens metal. And I'll say this, for every business, no matter what stage you're in, and I love the way Dino said it, whether you're pre-venture or if you've been open for a very long time, marketing and promoting, what it comes down to for your client or customer, and Dino said it very well, is education. You have to be willing to educate your financial base who's paying you, that's supporting you. And that might be education on your product, your service, it might be your operation. But if people don't understand, if they don't see, if they don't get the importance, the necessity, the relevance, or the benefit of what you offer, everything else is useless. And that's the essential of marketing and promotion. Not just marketing and promoting a sale or a discount offer that you have. It's marketing and promoting the necessity, the benefit, the value of what you have and why a person should do business with.
You know,
I've got a question for both. Andrea, I have a quick question for both you and Kathleen, actually. I think I know what Kathleen's answer is going to be, but I still want to ask both of you. So to that tune, right, many of the individuals that Kathleen and I run into, at least I'll speak for myself, that I run into, small business owners are pure, good old-fashioned type A personalities. They know their craft. They have no desire to listen to some whippersnapper tell them about their own business. So when you run into someone like that who is really not ready for change or even willing to entertain the fact that they may need change, how do you handle that from a promotions and a PR perspective? And Kathleen, how do you handle that just in general from a counseling and consulting perspective?
that's a great question, Andre. Excuse me, that's a great question, Dino. Well, it's funny that you would say that because I do see that quite often. And I try to remind myself that in that moment, I cannot be the small business development counselor. I have to then morph into the coaching side of that role. And when you morph into the coaching side, when you're dealing with someone like that, of that personality, then you have to allow them to drive the bus and you're a passenger. And then every once in a while, give them directions as to turn left or turn right. You can't initially start off being in the driver's seat like the small business counselor, and they're the passenger because of the conflicts, their personality, it just doesn't jive with them. So I have to be be on more of a coaching role and kind of let them tell the story. And I just basically make sure that all the chapters in the book are in the right order, if that makes any sense.
It does.
So, Andre, what are your thoughts on this?
You know what? I agree with you wholeheartedly. I know myself, one thing I've been doing for the last few years, because I just got fed up with people's egos and their they're not being willing to be flexible or to listen. A lot of times I just use negative phrasing. I'm the person, you know what? You came to me because you're not accomplishing the results that you seek, and whatever you're doing, even though it brought you to this far and it's giving you a measure of success, it's still not enough. So if you continue doing what you're doing, this is what you're going to get. If you really want something more or different than what you've been receiving, then that's going to require something different. So, you know, either we do that or we don't, and I let them make the decision.
I like that because, you know, it reminds me of the definition of insanity. You're doing the same thing over and over again, and you expect it to stop.
That's right.
So, Dino, what are your thoughts on that? On the question that you just posed to Andre and I?
You can't ask me my own question, Kathleen. No, it's funny. I'll tell you the way I deal with it, or the way that I used to deal with it when I was in consulting. So the first thing I'd have people say, you know what, I've been in contracting, I've been building homes for more than 25 years. What are you going to tell me about my business that I don't already know? And kind of like Andre was saying, I would say, you know what, sir, whatever you're doing is not working. You know, you asked me for my help. Let's check our egos at the door. And I may not know anything about building homes, but I know business. I know that yours is failing. When I look at your profit and loss statement, when I look at your balance sheet, when I look at your cash flow, you're in trouble. Now, either let me help you, or you know what, I've got other clients that I need to see. And I know I need to move to more of a quote unquote coaching role. Kathleen, you cheater. Kathleen's cheating, by the way, y'all. we just went to a coaching seminar this past week. So Kathleen had a great answer.
I'm on my field hours, you know.
But no, I'm much less of a coach and more of a counselor, director. But I completely agree with both of you in that sometimes you need to just get on the bus and just ride with them before, and advise them as to what the direction of the bus should be, as opposed to throwing them out of the driver's seat and taking over. You can't do that with everybody. So you really have to, taper the interaction to what's best for the client. And again, because all type A's are going to want to see in the driver's seat, you have to convince them that what they're doing is not working, and either you can be status quo and then in a year I'll call you and you won't be in business anymore, or you can sit around and listen to some advice and help to improve your overall business.
That's excellent. And so would you and Andre, would you like to add some closing remarks to this conversation? It's been a fantastic Saturday morning, so thank you both for your expert opinion on this topic. So Andre, any closing remarks?
Yes, and that is just, I encourage people, especially those that are listening and viewing right now, you know what, pick up the phone and go to companies like Nevada Women's Business Center, go to companies like the Urban League, and go to the professionals, go to the seasoned, experienced veterans in that business. Get their advice, and not only get their advice, but use it. It works. It's available. It's there. This is not something that you have to do by yourself, or you have to fake it till you make it, or you just have to guess. There are organizations out there who exist solely to help you, and they are more than qualified and competent to lead you and guide you and provide the resources that you need.
Excellent. Thank you. Dino, closing remarks?
I love Andre's wording, fake it until you make it. But that's real talk right there. So you know what, and Kathleen, you and I say this all the time, and Andre just said it very well. You can't do it by yourself. Get help, and there are resources out there that can help you. We have no vested interest in helping you other than making sure you are successful. So please, no one is good at everything. Get help if you need it. So, and you can succeed. You can survive as a business. And there are people out there like myself and Andre and Kathleen that can help you, as well as many others.
Thank you, Dino. And thank you, Andre, for a wonderful Saturday morning to talk about the art of promoting your business, and also some other topics that we covered too within the conversation. If anyone would like more information about entrepreneur development, entrepreneur training, please contact the Nevada Women's Business Center. And also, please take some time to complete the survey that you're going to receive via GoToWebinar after the webinar. We really would appreciate your feedback. And with that, I'm really pleased to once again collaborate with our resource partners, the Las Vegas Urban League, Dino Brown, for this training, and also to have a stellar guest speaker with Mr. Andre Haynes, the owner of EMG and founder of the Armed Forces Chamber of Commerce. So thank you both, gentlemen, for your time this morning on a Saturday morning to provide a fantastic webinar. And thank you, everyone, for tuning in on a Saturday morning to learn about the art of promoting your business. And with that being said, thank you and enjoy your day. Thanks again, guys.
Thanks, Kathleen.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Andre.
Thanks, Dino. Have a good day, everyone.
You too.